Yes, 2-5 is here. Sports reports is ordered. 2-5 daily. Like, review, subscribe. Do all the good things. Do all the free things. Rate and share as well. Thanks for joining me. So today, got a couple of things I wanted to talk about. First thing on the docket is we got new reports saying that Uconn may be in talks with the Big 12 again. Last summer, we talked about this as a possibility. So, where do we stand now? So, the word on the street is Uconn may be willing to take a third share to join the Big 12 in basketball in 2026, basketball in 2031. So in the end, they'll end up an all sports team in the Big 12. Now, I started thinking about this, right? Why would the Big 12 do this? Well, number one, they're trying to create their basketball version of the SEC. UConn, Kansas, Baylor, Houston. It's just getting crazy, right? But anyway, but also Commissioner Brett Yormark is a basketball guy, talking about the value that basketball has. Even though football drives the bus, can't forget that basketball does bring something to the table. He's also a New York guy, came from Rock Nation. So that part of the country, that particular team who just happens to be the back-to-back national champion, who happens to have a women's dominating program, just made the Final Four this year. So from that standpoint, once you take geography out of the equation, I could see why he would want it. But why would the rest of the teams in the Big 12 want UConn? Just another tough team to play against in basketball? Maybe they become your Vanderbilt in football? Is that good enough? If you're UConn, why do you want to do this? Because joining the Big 12 could be, or let me rephrase, will be the death of your program. You got out of the Big East before and went to the AAC. Yeah, you won a national title in basketball, but your football team ain't been right ever since. Had promise. Made a Fiesta Bowl at one point. Now you're independent and doing what besides losing? Now, why do I say you'll die? Let me take you down a path. Let's talk about Syracuse. Let's talk about Boston College. Let's talk about Pitt, who, before the ACC, Syracuse was one of the brand names in basketball. And I'm focusing on basketball because, like I said, UConn's the back-to-back national champion. What is Syracuse now? Jim Boeheim finally walked out the door. I feel that if UConn joins the Big 12, you could kiss Danny Hurley goodbye. He just turned down the Lakers to stay there. And you're going to get away from Providence and Seton Hall and Georgetown and Villanova to take trips to Arizona State, to Utah, to Colorado. That's not the move, and on top of that, 2031, your football comes in. You're just asking to be pounded. At this point, your football program should be an FCS program. Look at Boston College, who was respectable during the Big East days. Remember, I talked about Glenn Foley going into South Bend, upsetting number one Notre Dame. Doug Flutie. Basketball had a little run in 94. You had a little bit of shine with Jared Dudley. Joined the ACC, it fell apart. Then you turn around, you look at Pitt, the school of Dan Marino, Tony Dorsett, Heisman winners, especially Tony Dorsett was a Heisman winner. So what is Pitt now besides your proverbial maybe they can play spoiler? They made the ACC title game in 2019, only time they were ever in contention since joining the conference. They pulled off some basketball wins, but in the meantime, their program isn't respectable at this point. They were making number one seeds, number two seeds with Jamie Dixon years ago. So I just don't see how the deal is beneficial to each team. Like I know the Big 12 thinks that they may be getting the New York market. The Big 10 thought that with Rutgers too. How'd that work out? So expansion isn't always the answer, even though we love talking about it.